You are listening to the 312 Squadron podcast. My name is Nick Sperry.
I'm Andrew Kouba.
I'm Andrew Oehler.
All the Andrews are here. I'm going to have to change my name. We are pleased to be back to talk about the Gotham City Conquest, and we have our champion, Andrew Oehler, here to chat about his recent win in that conquest. And we also got a little points update from the X-WingAlliance that we'll talk about briefly as well. Andrew Oehler and Andrew Kouba, of course, never going to exclude Mr. Kouba. Thank you for joining me today and making the time to record kind of last minute flexible time shift there. I appreciate you guys accommodating me. As the video folks watching, I'm wearing a Cubs jersey. I'm going to try to make it to the Cubs game after this, and they were accommodating of that, so I do appreciate it. Thank you. Welcome, both you guys.
Yeah, thanks. We're not going to keep you from a Cubs game.
Yeah, well, hopefully it's not. At least it's a good game. Otherwise, I've been like, man, maybe I should have just stayed back. But hopefully not. Hopefully not. Well, guys, it's X-Wing. The world of X-Wing continues to move forward. Things continue to change. I'm excited to cover yet another conquest and to have one of the Oehler brothers, as Andrew was just talking about, how people often conflate and confuse him and his brother, to chat about X-Wing. So let's talk about the Gotham City Conquest. You guys both played in it. I think I'll just start off with really asking you both about what your experience was like with that field of players and how it went for you. Kouba, I guess I'll throw it over to you before we go to our champ here.
Yeah, it was not the best showing for me. I decided to go with an A series list. However, it once again was just an absolute blast to play. All of my opponents were excellent. And it was a lot of fun, going on it and doing commentary too. And I will say, I'm sure we'll get into it, but the stream games were so fun to watch and to go back and watch those as well. So yeah, Andrew, I'd love to hear your experience on it as well.
Yeah, it was great. It was really fun. I flew in the Crumpet. I stayed up. I was one of the crazy people to stay up in the Crumpet Conquest, and it didn't go super great for me. I had a very lukewarm day. So I wanted to fly something. I guess the list is good. I knew it was good, but I wanted to fly something that I thought was a little more fun and entertaining. So I flew my goofy self-bombing rebel list. It's not my list. I actually stole it from. I shamelessly stole it from a couple people,
So much
and then
shame.
put my own little twist on it. And it turned out pretty well. Turns out.
Why don't you? We'll go into the depths of the list's functionality, but just to start us off, just give us who's in the list, and we'll talk about it more in a little bit. Who was in your champ winning list here?
So the Saw Gerrera Wolferoo kind of combo, I got from with Yvonne. I got from, there was a gentleman, I'll shout him out, Brian Barter, who is crushing people in NCX as rebels and as a rebel diehard. Being my main faction, I was intrigued by him running the same list and doing so well because I had been struggling with rebels. And then at the UK Grand Expo, Elliot Clayton flew pretty much the same shell of a list with Saw and Wolf and Yvonne. And he made top 8 or top 4, one of the two. So I went, okay, I think there's something to this archetype. So I started playing around with it myself, and I really liked it. Luke was my own personal spin. Some people have been flying Wedge or Gavin. And then because I didn't take Wedge in the X-Wing, I can take Wedge in the A-Wing over Arvel. Because I am terrible with Arvel, and every time I fly him, he just dies.
He doesn't spark joy when you don't when you line up that bump.
Oh, it feels so good.
So people just think that it's going to happen, that it's easy, and the thing is, it's so predictable. It's so predictable that a lot of people, it just doesn't happen as much as you would think.
No.
Especially even with 5 or 6 ships on each side. And then he's just sad, and then sometimes he overshoots everybody, which is kind of the worst part, is that he's just like, you just see Arvel out there just kind of facing nothing, and everybody's on the other side of him because he tried to line up the block.
Yeah
exactly my feelings on Arvel. I screw up with him all the time, and then he's running around behind everybody trying to get turned around. I'm relevant.
He's kind of is it fair to say he's a one-trick pony? Because I really feel like he is.
He is. When he works, though, he does feel Amazing.
Yeah. Well, I remember I got it to work once and then I biffed the shot and I just was so devastated. I was like, man, I can't do this. That
Oh
was
no.
oh, that was terrible. Man, I got to have you on twice. The last round of Swiss. We played 4 rounds in this tournament. We'll talk about the event itself just from a TO perspective. This was the third conquest, the second in the US in terms of time zones. This was an Eastern time zone based event. Of course, it's the Gotham City Conquest, so we're doing it Eastern time, New York City. We had about 48 people to start the day, but we had a decent number of people just no show. We had 7, I think it looks like 7 who were unable to make it start of the day. So we did start the tournament in terms of active players with 41, which was just than a couple more than necessary to have a 4 round Swiss. I thought the numbers lined up to be able to only have to do 4 rounds to determine 2 undefeated players. Unfortunately, we had 3. I want to give Epionic a shout out. We'll talk about his list in a little bit, but he also was undefeated, and we're going to host an exhibition game between him and Andrew Oehler to see if we can send Epi a championship plaque as well, just kind of
Ooh.
as a little bit of a deserved prize if he does win that exhibition game. And it doesn't affect anybody. Andrew Oehler still gets his win, still claims top dog and prize for this, but they both get their invite. And that's the most important thing for the end of the year when it comes to these conquests, is getting your invite to play in the global at the end of the year. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, but it was overall, it went really well, as Andrew got to join me for the first game, Mr. Andrew Kouba, and do commentary. And as he said, the games on stream were pretty good. There was a couple of brawler type games where you had like big point swings, then you had some really close nail biter games. And as a streamer, I always do appreciate the closer games. If I had to pick one over the other, you're always picking the ones that people are will they, won't they, on the edge of their seat kind of vibes.
Yeah.
And yeah, just went really well. The players, everyone was great. We stayed on schedule. It went by so fast. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I blinked and we were final table. So
No,
a
it went
dream
Y-
fast,
when it
which was
comes to
nice.
running a tournament.
Yeah,
Because
I felt
Yeah.
that as well.
I may have attended an event afterwards.
Did you win that one too?
I did not. I made final table.
Wow,
Nice.
that's
Pretty
great.
close.
And
It
then
was SWU, right? You played
it
SWU?
was SWU, yeah. And then I used all
Nice.
my brain power for the week in that day.
Oh, dude, I can imagine. That's
I
exhausting.
could. I can't imagine just going into a whole different like strategy game right afterwards.
I'm gonna make this full screen on my side here just to bring up there we go.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah, that talk about running yourself through a gauntlet. I would be too tired. I was very tired after these sorts of events. I'm like, yeah, I'm only sitting at a computer all day, so it's like, how could you be exhausted? But it's just exhausting. It is. It's
Yeah.
just, you got to move around a little bit. So in terms of what I noticed, and we'll talk about what you guys experienced with the field, but just looking at our insights, the faction distribution. So the winning list, of course, Oehler's Rebel list, that was only one of 3 people to bring Rebels. Scum exceeded actually 4 times the amount of Rebel lists. There's 12 Scum lists, so they made up the biggest piece of the pie for Gotham. And then you have Empire in second and Republic in third. So interesting to see this shake out. Scum continues to be like top 2, top 3, but to
Hmm.
see Rebels kind of in Resistance fall back as much as they did. First Order at 4, so more First Order list than Rebel
Then
list is
Rebels.
actually the most surprising thing to me. Um, but yeah, I mean, what you guys think or expect when it comes to the overall field?
Scum has been extremely popular lately in tournaments from what I've seen. I'm a
Yeah.
little surprised about CIS because I think that in the current points that we are playing, and they're one of the best factions in the game. We'll talk about them after the points change in a bit. But they've never been super popular anyway. But FO getting more than Rebels like feels bad because I feel like Rebels were on the struggle bus a little bit. I say that as I won with them, but that's because like I had been trying, and quite a few people have been really trying to find something with them. But
Yeah.
they actually did really well at
They
this.
did really well. I mean, the lowest Rebels player was in 9th place.
Yeah,
So just barely making the top 8 cut.
Yeah, that is interesting. I'm looking at
And no scum in the top 9. Or like their 10th place is the highest Scum player.
Yeah, Scum has a lot of toys that are like really exciting. That they do a lot of things that are pretty menacing. This new Dengar, we got to see Zuckus, the SL Zuckus. We got to see. We've seen a lot of Fen Rao with that extra hole. We've seen tons of the Mandalorian. There's definitely a lot of exciting toys, and I think that just skews the participation for that faction. But they're also doing, they're doing pretty well. They're certainly doing so much better than we had been used to the last couple of years.
Yeah, for sure.
And what's nice about these conquests is that as you go to different time zones, as we'll go back to Europe for the pierogi one, and this month later in July, it's July 1st. We're recording this. Just realized that June is over. It's interesting to see the meta shift. The Windy City Conquest. I feel like we saw a good dose of Scum, and then we saw a nice mixture of like Resistance, Rebels, and Empire. And now Scum is still holding pretty firm. FO still not a lot of people playing it, but the faction's been doing better, at least statistically. In Draft League, I think they were top dog or near the top in terms of performance over there. And there's a lot of games being played in that league. So these conquests are a great litmus to see how people feel about the new content and to see what people feel like playing, and also to see if people buy into the fact that a faction like FO or Resistance is actually has the pieces needed to perform well. You still see, I think, a lot of people kind of leaning into their comfort zone instead of trying something different, or maybe taking their secondary faction.
Hmm.
But yeah, and then CIS continues to kind of be littered throughout the rankings, as they've done well for quite a while in XWA now.
I did want to call out Empire as well, where we did have 3 Empire players in the top 8, even though I feel across the board, people thought that that was a faction that was struggling.
Hmm.
And even like the archetypes within a lot of these are fairly different. Like it's still great to see that among the factions, there are still unique versions of each faction that are still kind of coming to the table.
I mean, yeah, as mentioning that pilots by looking at the pilots by count, like there's so much variety here. I don't think I'm seeing more than 3. Okay, I see use a 4, 5. Here we go. 5 General Grievous. That makes sense. You're gonna see a lot of Grievous, Scimitar 1. Okay, so we're seeing what's really popular, but I can scroll down for a long time. There's so many different pilots
Hmm.
being used, and I don't, not to play the comparison game, but I'm curious if we were to take a tournament, let's say an online, or well, let's say an in-person AMG points tournament, and had this breakdown, like how long would I scroll? What would those numbers look like? I feel like there would just not be as many pilots. Certainly, it would be a lot less because just the way the meta was constructed
Oh, for
and the
sure.
points were laid out.
And
But
also how long between points changes.
right, right. But that's really cool. I actually appreciate you pointing that out, because it's I'll be honest, I've been my head hasn't been in X-Wing as much the past month. I've kind of been all over the place. And I was on a work trip literally hours before I started the Gotham City Conquest when I got home from that trip. And it is cool to be able to go through this and see just how it's very eye-opening to see exactly how diverse things have been getting. It's
Yeah.
been like a trend. It's not just like the Gotham City Conquest was diverse, there was good variety, but I feel like I can't pin exactly what to expect with each conquest moving forward. I can't make any predictions that I would feel confident in saying, oh, Scum's gonna be, top 3 again the rest of the way. Is that something I feel like would be more likely? Yes. But especially with the points change that we just got as well. I mean, who knows? Rebels could shoot up to the top, and Empire had been struggling a little bit. CIS is sneakily very, very good. And by sneaky, I just mean because it's still just not a faction that a ton of people bring. And yeah, just that's probably one of the most underrated parts of running events like this that are recurring, is being able to see just how people are really interacting with the game and
Yeah.
the group that's running it now at this point, the X-Wing Alliance.
Yeah, and I mean, I've played in every single Conquest series so far, and I don't think I've ever flown against the same list archetype twice. like just among my opponents. I'm sure some people might have different experiences, but just for my own, like I feel like across these three tournaments, I don't think I've faced the same list like again, which is pretty rare.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. How do you feel about what you've been going up against, Andrew? Like a
It's been
scale of
pretty
1 to 10, how satisfied are you with maybe the landscape of X-Wing right now with like meta and lists that you're playing with and against?
it's really cool. There's some standout pilots that you see in a lot of lists of the same faction, like Fenrau or General Grievous. But I did play against two different CIS this week or during this event, and they were two very different lists. Um, I like that you can sit down across the table from someone or see their list in like the little icons of what ships they're bringing in Roll Better, and you don't actually know which pilots it is. In AMG days, you could kind of be paired into rebels and know that you're probably playing against Luke and Wedge, right?
Yeah,
Or if
a
it's
wedge.
Republic and it's like arcs of some variety, and I'm liking the variety. And I think with some of the point changes dropped last week, the variety is just going to keep increasing. So
Would you argue that I'm just the PR person over here. I'm not the part of the points team, but would you argue that a goal for a member of the points team or for a healthy meta is variety? Like, would you say that that should be at the top, one of the top things on your list in terms of like what you want to go for with
I, th-
making changes?
I think so. It depends if you want a well balanced game or a more interesting game, I guess, right? I guess they're kind of the same thing. Yes, is my answer.
Fact, when it comes to, I think leaning more into variety is better than trying to perfect every pilot. It's just there's just some pilots that are just not. You could give them a lot of loadout, and like that could be problematic because then they'd be too cheap, and they're just cheap protorp carriers or missile carriers or whatever you put on there. Some pilots are just not meant to be played all the time because of the way that they are. And X-Wing's a dense game when it comes to options now. We just have a lot, and we're adding already new content that exists that's been added. So I think that the goal at this point is just trying to get as much as reasonably possible playable.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think they're doing a really good job of doing that.
Yeah, and we're talking about CIS. We had Le Chancellor, like the last conquest, got his invite to the global playing Maul, and
Yeah,
just I don't even think you could bring Maul in AMG points, and really like it just wasn't a thing. You could obviously, but you kind of couldn't. Like no one did. No one ever even thought about it. No one thought about the chassis. Like the scimitar is just kind of left behind in most cases, unless it was more casual play. And if you're unless your name is Duncan Howard, you just didn't look. You didn't look at Maul. You didn't look at the scimitar. You tried to bring a swarm list and struggled with it, but now that's not the case anymore. CIS swarms are very much menacing, and they throw a lot of dice at you, and that's kind of goes back to the roots of what made them good with swarms in high quantity lists in 2.0 was that statistically, mathematically, they threw a lot of dice at you, and you had to outpace your kills versus what they had to get on you.
yeah,
And I know scenarios throw a wrinkle into just how every game is played and how everyone strategizes with their lists, but it's just nice to see CIS is actually capable, if not, has almost an advantage in most scenarios because of the fact that they have swarmy, larger ship count lists.
yeah. It's always a race against the clock with CIS. Fine, it seems
I mean, I
for
will
sure.
say that the looking at the data not only from the Conquest series, but like in some of the leagues and stuff and other tournaments online, I think that that is what necessitated a points update. Is that CIS just seems to be a faction that has no weak scenario, and they really have thrived in this last points uh, world with those games and objectives.
I mean, they've continued to thrive even with the HMPs being nerfed. Um, just turns out that yeah, it wasn't just the HMPs, but they were really brutal to deal with when you had two 3-point HMPs that had take a ton of loadout.
Hmm.
That was
Yeah,
nasty stuff. And honestly, if though if you were to ask me, okay, well, like what's one thing I can do to this faction to just kill it or not kill it, but to really put it in its place? Oh, it's like, oh, simple, just make Kraken unplayable. I think the power of Kraken and CIS list has been exercised and demonstrated. It's just such a powerful tool to hold on to green tokens. It calculates and have ships roll into engagements with extra green tokens or double modded shots. Yeah,
It's a triple coordinate,
Yep.
sort of.
essentially, yeah, exactly. And with a huge range band, it's just very strong. Now, is there anything that surprised you guys about Gotham City before we kind of dive into chatting about points for the second half of our show?
Yeah, Sevwall going to final table with two Adas, the madman.
Yeah, we can definitely uh, break down the list too. It's something that I had mentioned doing and I just almost forgot to do. But Sevwall, his list was a 5 ship Republic list. He had Anakin and Obi-Wan in the Adas. These are both custom builds. Predator and Patience on Anakin, Predator, Patience, and Brilliant Evasion on Obi-Wan. Then he has Rick Ali in the N1 with R7A7. That's the crit droid. 3 charges on that crit droid. And Juke, good combo because of full throttle. And then you have Luminara and Dooley with R2D2 for some regen. This is Delta 7B Luminara. Um, and I get thrown by the roll better points because it says Luminara is 3 points, but I know that is not the case. Luminara, I assume, is
Five, I
four,
think.
5.
Five.
Okay, 7B. Yeah. And was she just nerfs people's shots, turns crits to hits, turns hits to eyeballs. As long as she's not in bullseye, she can spend force to do that. Just helps make her friendlies more defensive. And then Click, who also is really good at nerfing shots, restricting range bonuses with precision ion engines and R3 astromech. So Sevwall already won a Conquest series. He won the first one, and he had the audacity to try to win another one, and he almost did. He brought a list that, at least at first, I'm trying to remember exactly what happened in the first couple of rounds, but um, you came out swinging in the mid game, and then basically kind of carried it away
Yeah,
by
he
the
he
end.
killed my wedge early. I made a
Right.
gambit with wedge and threw him right in the middle of the board, and he kind of just got dogpiled and died. And I was down. I traded that for like a couple shields on Luminara, I think. But I got really
Yeah.
lucky in Ada doing Ada things the following turn. Oh, and my Luke got pretty beat up. Luke took a 4K
Yeah,
and
but
didn't
Chopper, man.
didn't die to Anakin, and then took
Yeah.
a range one Saw Gerrera focused or forced, I guess, essentially focused because I had two force shot into Anakin and just one shot Anakin. So
Yeah, that's
I
I
got
remember
pretty
that because
lucky that.
we were thinking that Sevall was is had an advantage there, and then I said, and Anakin just got one shotted, and now this game is completely different. This game has been turned upside down.
It
It's like
was
the that's like a baseball player hitting a grand slam with nobody on base. Just kind of just like, holy shit, this game is way different now. Like, how is that possible? But yeah, I mean, Ada's do be Adaing, and Anakin. I think we were I had been seeing a lot of decent greens from Republic, and at that point, Sevwall was being pretty good at rolling out of a lot of shots, and then Anakin just exploded, and
He
that was a
boosted
huge.
in.
You needed that moment because
I did.
it was an uphill climb for sure.
it was one of the swingiest final games. Yeah.
He
Yeah, and
boosted his Anakin into range one to try to initiative kill Luke, and it didn't work. And then because he didn't have an evade token and was low on force, yeah, just
yep.
Luke just sent him right out.
Yeah, and that's always feels bad when you have a plan that makes sense in theory. You're like, oh, I just remove this ship; it's not a factor, and then it doesn't work out. And you're like, and this shot coming back, I know I'm going to lose this ship. This is not going to. You just get that feeling, that's just it starts to creep in. Like, oh gosh, I don't know, that
That's
didn't
kind
work
of
out.
the mantra of that list, though, is being I4. A lot of the things shoot first, and we kind of just have to hold. And if the ships hold, they throw so much pain back that it usually trades up. So
Yeah, and it's pretty tanky, lower agility for the most part, but pretty tanky, and there's a lot to keep track of in your list. You have to be mindful of. And A-wing wedge, he's not. He's not really gonna terrify you, but he's gonna be a huge problem if you kinda just let him get in your flank or just kinda go all over the place and snipe in a damage here and there, because the rest of your list is the finisher, like, you have so many different ways to finish something off, and Wolf Waro, is a huge X factor, paired with Saw Gerrera's ability. When you give him the damage card to start the game, Wolf Waro's powered up to and with a trick shot, ultra powered up with a reroll, usually has a focus. And then Yvonne's like, "Hey, buddy, you worried about taking too much damage this turn? I'm nearby. I'll spend my token. You get an extra agility." And that's
Yeah,
also a gamut of the list or a gambit that I think is really underrated.
yeah. Avon actually was very important. Um, Typically, she'd be trailing Luke around actually, and I kind of dangle Luke, and then giving Luke that third agility dice with his recurring force makes him very very hard to kill. And also pumping up Saw Gerrera essentially gives him the same thing because he essentially has hate with the child and 3 agility.
So for a brief time, Yvonne can give us the experience of what it would be like to deal with Luke in an E-wing if he's got rolling 3 agility.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh man, I
I
do
mean,
want to
you're
give a
kind of
shout out to Epionic, who did also go undefeated, playing Empire. He brought a 6 ship Empire list. This was a Goran swarm, which Goran, sad with his loadout reduction. We'll touch on that. Goran has the whole upgrade sensitive controls and the Scimitar one, Karsabi, Captain Faroff, Double Edge, and Obsidian Squadron pilot combo. So you have a Plasma Torpedo Karsabi. This is the custom build 3-pointer. Faroff provides white coordinates with Tactical Officer, targeting computer ruthless, just tanky if you don't have any green tokens when you shoot at him. He's more evasive. And then you have that cheap 3-point barrage rocket carrier with Double Edge. Um, you know, decent amount of health on that chassis, despite it not being super popular one. For 3 points, you can't argue with the dorsal and barrage rockets, and maybe a double tap with Double Edge's ability. And then you just got that objective monkey in the Obsidian Squadron pilot. And Goran's got his pick of the litter. Everybody's lower initiative than him, so he's passing evades, removing target locks, just doing his thing. And no, it makes sense why he did so well with a list like that. That can be a huge pain if you don't get Goran out of there. It is difficult to deal with. And you played Goran a decent amount, Andrew
I
Kouba,
did.
so you know what that's like.
yeah, both of us did. Yeah, the ultimate efficiency list. I mean, this is the best pilots that Empire has to offer at the lowest points.
That's it. That's
Yeah,
and Goran just makes them survive, and um, Goran really shuts down super niche edge case lists too, which can really cripple certain lists.
yeah. Anything relying heavily on target locks. Unless it's my Aaron Kraken list. Unless it's that. Everything else miserable when it
Yeah,
comes
Or
to target
just
locks.
damage your own ships so then they get passive rerolls and you don't have to worry about
Oh, yeah,
locks.
exactly. Passive mods is still the name of the game in a lot of ways.
it's
Um,
still huge. Yeah, and
yeah,
Epionic, went against Resistance and Scum all day too, which are big target lock heavy factions that they're really relying on that.
yeah. Um, But yeah, we got a good flavor of factions here. Let's see. So we had number 1 Rebels Republic, number 2 Empire, number 3 CIS, number 4. So already 4 unique factions there alone. And then you CIS again at 5, Empire at 6, Empire at 7, and then Rebels at 8. So you don't get any resistance. You don't get any first order, and you don't get any scum, as Andrew mentioned earlier, in the top 8. We had a couple roll down invites, but yeah, so we had let's see, 7 ship CIS list here, and then some 6, 5, or 6 ship uh Empire. Let's see. Then we have Bazooka Joe. You know Bazooka Joe, Andrew Oehler,
I
pretty well.
do.
He brought it a list with an E-wing, so I have to. He
Super
brought
cool
a
list.
it's yeah, it is actually very cool. So I'll just read it out real quick. We got a Wedge Antilles, a custom build with the Predator Plasma Torpedo combo, Corrin Horn and the E-wing. I was hoping it was Corrin and not Gavin because I've been enjoying playing Corrin a lot. So cool to see Corrin Horn with FCS R3, targeting synchronizer and hopeful. Then a Siege to Ketu, interesting as an ion missile perceptive co-pilot, so no advanced slam. Aaron Kraken is hopeful in ion torpedoes, and then Shara Bay. I think this is probably
It
custom built
is
or
it
standard
is standard loadout because she has
standard loadout.
concussion missiles for 3 points.
Yep.
So actually, this targeting sync on Corin, taking the locks turn one, and then having your whole list be able to fire munitions off of Corin's lock is the whole idea of this list.
Yeah.
So even a
No
Sigi,
no easy reroll access though is the only
nope.
downside. It's like a lot of instinctive aiming, but still scary to deal
But
with
a lot of
for
ships
sure.
have like Sigi focus on Wedge and Corin. They can get a Sigi to help. Kraken can give someone a focus if they didn't take one, or a lock to double mod something. It's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, personally, I've never been a big targeting synchronizer fan myself, but I always see the value of it. Like it's just like it's basically like, oh, do you like instinctive aim? And I'm like, I'm not a big instinctive aim guy, and so you probably wouldn't be as big of a targeting synchronizer guy either. Just obviously some lists archetypes there's more passive mods you could unlock that make it stronger, but yeah, I mean when it works you are at least restricting range bonuses. That's a lot of dice. Wedge is reducing defenders agility, so it is a cool list, and I wish I could have paid attention to that one. It would have been cool to get that one on stream, but maybe he brings it again. I can keep my eye out.
Yeah, we'll see. It's cool. A lot of little
Yeah.
weird synergies.
Anything else about Gotham before we move on to a quick chat about the little points update we got from XWA?
No, it was. I think it was a great event. You guys did great running it. Well, Nick, you did,
Yeah.
and I was really really happy to play in it, and I didn't expect to win, so that was a nice little surprise.
And congratulations again. I appreciate the kind words.
No, yeah, this was a an awesome tournament again. And I was going to say, I was shocked to see that there were only two players who brought resistance lists. So hopefully, we'll see more resistance in the pierogi conquest coming up.
Yeah, I've been loving Resistance. Like, I mean, I was kind of I was asked to play Resistance in Draft League, and I was like, it's fine. If everyone needs to switch factions, like I'll bite the bullet. Like I barely play them, but I started playing this 5 ship list with like Sto Morani and Heroes of Hope Poe and Finn and Procket ZZ and gosh, there's one more ship in there that I'm and what's his name, Merle Cobbin, and it was like super fun and engaging and good. I went 3-1 with a faction I barely ever played.
Heck
But
yeah.
Skomorati is bonkers. Like he's
He's
just such a the value of like the 3 hard over, like spend the droid's charge, fly over a gas cloud, and then like focus boost or boost focus, whatever, to like pursue a target. People just forget that you can do something like that.
Yeah,
It's just whack.
it's so fun. Resistance has so many fun pieces.
yeah, Stomaroni is just pure fun to fly as well. I
Yeah,
found.
super super fun, and gets those rerolls when he goes fast as well. Um,
Who doesn't like
but
going fast?
if anybody has been temporarily, even just for a couple of days, maybe napping under a rock, there was a points update with some patch notes released. I linked it in our show notes if you guys wanted to go over to the patch notes. I was just thinking we could kind of talk over the justifications and the main changes that were called out, and we can talk about maybe the biggest winners and losers of this change and what we expect to see moving forward. How does that sound for you guys?
Sounds great.
Awesome. So there's been a few updates. The points team has been good about giving us not frequent but occasional updates. I think when we felt like it's time for a little tweak, they've done it, and we've been starved for that kind of cadence for a while. It's nice and it's very tactical. I know from myself and what I see in the X-Wing Alliance server how hard this team works and how much testing is done to make sure that these changes are made out of more necessity than out of flavor or bias. We always go off of data and reporting and testing to make adjustments. And sometimes, we might push something to see how it goes, but it's never purely for no reason. It's never just because we felt like it. Um, so let's start with Rebels. So the first blurb is interesting. Recent tournament data suggests that Rebels are a bit on the back burner right now, and I think Andrew Oehler, you kind of feel that way. At least you talked about Rebels in that light earlier. It felt like it's been a bit of a struggle. Do you feel like that they're maybe they were a bottom 3 faction um,
It's hard to
up to this
say.
point?
I think that yeah, I do. I think they really struggled into Separatist, especially, which was a very dominant faction. Um, so I did feel like maybe the data skewed a little bit. Um, and people, I don't know, including myself, need to maybe experiment more with the faction a bit. Things like Wolfaru and Saw weren't the first things people gravitate towards with Rebels, but a couple needed buffs, I think. And I mean, the data from the tournaments is going to be more like useful than just one tournament that we had where Rebels won it,
Yeah,
right? So they,
right.
I assume the
There's a lot
Placeos
more
that
that
they're
they
doing
look
here,
at.
yeah,
This is just informative at the very least. But yeah, I mean, I had I had played Rebels for half of the draft league, and I had a couple of lists that I really liked to play, and one of them was like a clan run volunteer list that I felt really confident with. But I lost a few games with that list, and every time I lost, it was always like some sort of like obscure, like bizarre experience. It was like a couple times it was more variance based, and then there was a couple of instances where it was just like I just had like the wrong pilot facing the wrong like opposing pilot at the wrong time, or just the scenario. I found that like because I was playing more lower initiative, I think scramble was a challenge. Naturally, it can be with lower initiative pilots.
yeah. I
But
also
I didn't
just
feel like they were really struggling as much. I felt they were middle of the pack, but it is enlightening to see that maybe they were a little bit more bottom three
yeah,
than I realized.
I could go into details about this a lot, but I also feel like Rebels struggle with objectives more than some other factions do. A lot of their ships being synergistic helps with that, but at the cost of an action usually. So giving up those action economy to do a scenario, especially scramble, really hurts Rebels in particular,
A
I
lot of
find.
haters are not going to want to hear that from a rebel sympathizer like the two of us. They're gonna be like, "What do you mean rebels have all this sharing and token stuff? Like they don't care."
Yeah, but they have to
Which
actually take an action to share tokens. So
think, well, a big thing like Hera in the A-wing would be such a game changer if she was worth taking because she has no loadout, right? Like that that idea of like, oh well, they do have to compromise to do scenario actions. Like if Hera was more viable in the way that people wish she would be, it would be completely different dynamic with how the choices you make when you want to scramble, when you want to grab a crate, because she can pass those tokens.
I
But
mean, I think we
I don't
have a
want to go down that
Segi.
rabbit hole. But
Yeah, I think we have a Segi right now who is actually better than Hera right now, but he has that exact problem going, in that he never wants to touch an objective. So
yeah, and he also is not really there to do any damage.
correct.
Maybe in Bazooka Joe's list he could, but yeah, it's a 4 point medium base that's sitting out there in one agility. It's like shoot at me, shoot me. I can't really shoot you, but you could shoot me. Probably need to. How do you feel about Rebels, Andrew? The other Andrew?
Yeah, I mean, eh, after the points change, I think that they're still going to be in a good spot. I'm very excited with Ahsoka going down to 4 points,
Yeah,
even
me
without
too.
the loadout. Yeah, I mean, I think that that's really going to open up a lot of possibilities for them as well. Give them action, like give them access to those extra actions. Having even her as a Force user makes those objectives a little bit easier, especially on scenarios like scramble the transmissions, where not only do you have the higher initiative, you also have the force behind it too. So
Also,
I do think that. Oh, sorry.
oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say yeah, but I would agree with your assessment earlier too, where they were going kind of all in on objective play as a faction, or you would go all in on the ship destruction, but then you would be sacrificing your ability to play objectives that other factions would then be able to take advantage of. And I think there were other factions that were better at doing both.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I think Bodica coming down is another big thing. I am terrible with Bodica and always get her killed, but there are players who are very good with her. And I mean, Bodica won Worlds, right? I know that's an
yep,
AMG world, that's a very different world, but Boudica at 4 was viable in AMG, so I think her coming down to 4 here is very interesting.
Yeah, and I think Boudica is that high ceiling but low floor kind of pilot for you.
In the same vein, Empire had a lot of people have been struggling with Empire. People who play Empire a lot have been struggling with Empire, and
Yeah,
it's just kind of a fever dream to to talk about these two factions like this, or for it to be possible, just because they've always consistently been good performers. Never, maybe never. Well, in AMG, they were top performers, truly.
for the past 2
But
years.
in terms of just holistically looking at X-wing and in the history of X-wing, they've just always been good performers, like they reliable. And I think Empire, when it comes to struggling with action economy and scenario actions, I think Empire has it worse off. Not me saying that the whole woe is me, like we need to feel bad for the Empire. Has a lot of things that they can do really well, but at the same time I think people, when it came to list building and building something that was flexible across scenarios, I think they really struggled and they fell into some bad habits, maybe just building what they had been comfortable with when XWA points first had its like first or second iteration, and they continued to stick with that and didn't explore besides Gorin lists, they didn't explore too much else. But now Gorin lists, people started to become on people's radars. They started to show up on people's radars, and then that gets nerfed. So, um, yeah, we're seeing some pretty aggressive changes to the V1. Grand Inquisitor, Fifth Brother, and Seventh Sister all get buffs.
I
Grand
think
Inquisitor
that's
finally not being 5 points is awesome.
I think that's
Um,
enormous. I think Grand
That's
yeah,
huge.
Inquisitor,
that's
a
huge.
2 force I5
Yep,
pseudo three
with that
dice
ability.
gun with that ability
Hmm.
is massive. I have already
Great dial, great
been
action.
brewing
And we
with
haven't
Inquisitor.
Yeah, and we haven't really seen the V1 really on the fields. It did seem that Empire's been split into these two ways to build a faction. You can either go efficient with it, but then the problem is I feel you're a little more matchup dependent, where if you are going against like a higher initiative faction, they have the ability to eat your lunch. Um, and or you could go high initiative ships with the AC play, but then based on your matchup, if you're going up against some of those efficiency lists or factions that can really take advantage of having a lot of very beefy ships that sit on objectives, you can lose out to that, and it becomes more of a dice game for Empire.
Yeah, I almost had a heart attack reading. It says the Volt Scarus and Darth Vader and the Defender platform also received loadout increases as well as a point decrease. And then I was like, oh my god, for them? And it's like, no, that's for Echo. It's like, did Darth Vader get cheaper? I'm like, dear lord. Um,
I think SL Echo is really good and
Really
hasn't
good.
really been played around with at all.
Yes.
And I think that's something else to like really keep an eye on going.
Yes. We
Someone's gonna break it, I think.
and
I agree.
the swarm tactics issue with Scimitar 1 has been addressed, as Juno and Merrick tend to be the ones to swarm Scimitar 1 up. I'm okay if I don't see Scimitar 1 for a while. I've kind of gotten to that point with that pilot.
Yeah.
That's one of those one trick easy double modded torpedo ponies from the AMG days, and I'm like, hey, I don't need to see it all the time. It's just very oppressive, especially paired with swarm tactics, or can be. But um,
Yeah.
It's the easiest double modded torpedo,
yeah,
right?
Yep.
yeah, for sure. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's the main gist of Rebels and Empire. I'm excited the prospect of being able to take custom zero loadout Soon Tier and Grand Inquisitor for just 8 points combined, and then still have 12 points to build out. Like I want to try a list like that. Um, that could be interesting. Like there's definitely
So,
more options now.
So Vader and Whisper, right?
oh, and I mean, I was gonna say, I'm building that Soon tier with Grand Inquisitor and with SL Echo. I mean, honestly, at
Oh
this
yeah,
point, SL Echo is like I start building with SL Echo.
yeah.
So yeah,
um, Yeah, there's a lot of things to look at for Empire. I do really love playing Empire. I'm a Rebels player at heart, but I've played a lot of Empire and I've played a decent amount of Scum. Those are the two that I also look out for when it comes to building lists. And apparently, I'm a Resistance player now, just by by default here with Draft League. So
Yeah, talk about coming out of your shell, breaking out of your
yeah,
comfort zone a little bit.
just a little bit. I mean, it ended up feeling a lot, very similar. T70 just a better X-wing. I'm like, man, I've been holding myself back, having a heroic and an extra shield and a better dial and all that. Is just
Yeah,
pretty good.
The shackles are
Um,
off.
the shackles are yeah, right.
the
It's like, oh,
joy
this
of
this
yelling.
heroic business
Yeah, the
is the
joy of
real
yelling
deal.
heroic.
Yeah, and also experiencing the type of tilt that everyone only ever tells me about with Finn, but actually providing that experience to my opponent. Because I was like, oh, he can't be that bad. He's in the, you just shoot him twice and he takes damage. I'm like, wow, no, this thing is, yeah, this thing is annoying. I can totally get it. I totally see it. Um, Speaking of annoying, well, not really super annoying, but at least Y-wing Anakin has annoyed me in the past. Anakin and other chassis did get a buff. You got the Delta 7 A and B buff, as well as one in the N1. I don't have the points to reference by my side. I'll ask maybe one of you guys to help me out. What was the buff for the N1 Anakin? He just became cheaper.
I don't actually
Um,
know. I was so distracted by, and have been so distracted by shiny 7B Anakin coming down to 6 that I haven't even looked at N1 Anakin.
yeah, that could be a slippery slope. 7B Anakin at 6 is like, oh boy. Uh-oh. But yeah, a lot of the Delta 7s got some love. And both Anakin and Sassy Tin were given points drops in the
looks
7B.
looks like baby Anakin is 4 and 12.
Okay, so not 5 points anymore, like he was at some point for some reason. Um, yeah, let's see. We had loadout increases for the Lats, Hound, Sicko, and Hawk. We also saw loadout increases for several of the Y-wings. We were already seeing some of the Lats. Sicko is one that I kind of miss seeing. I used to see him a lot more.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, obviously providing the rerolls, the passive mod rerolls, providing it could provide for torpedoes, just non-turret attacks. Just
Yeah.
really strong, and we might see them more now that they have even more loadout. I think the issue has always been with them that they're not very they provide a lot for their friendlies, but they take up a lot of points and don't really punch. So they need to have enough on them to, like, Seventh Fleet Gunner is always a great example of providing the value that kind of negates the investment in terms of not dealing damage, because they just provide so much more damage for your other friendlies to provide.
Hmm.
I
Shoot, I hear
think
it.
7th Fleet Jedi are very scary, and I think very back on the menu. Like a 7th Fleet
Boys,
Jedi AC.
back on the menu,
It's
boys.
back on the menu, boys.
Just like meat.
Well, I mean, it's
Uh,
really been a while since we've seen that archetype, so I'm
It
kind of
has.
looking forward to that coming back. Something
viewing
different.
viewing oddball goes up a point and is given enough to take a proton torpedo, and apparently nobody had a problem with the like 30-point loadout torrent oddball. I was like, that's
Yes.
insane. He says so much loadout. It's not 30, but it's close. It's like 24, 25 or something. It's like bonkers.
Yeah, well, he can't get sync change from Anakin anymore, so yeah, it's sure, man.
He needs them.
Yeah.
He's got
Yeah.
23 loadout right now.
That's a lot of loadout for a torrent. That's, yeah. He could take rockets and proton torpedoes. It's just so good.
Yes.
Hey, Rejoice. We were going over to CIS as General Grievous, going up to 5. My man. Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know. 20 loadout that's a lot. Worth the trouble. He says they're
he
saying at 5
gets
points, 20
he
loadout.
gets
It's a
outmaneuvered
lot of
back.
loadout.
That's what he does.
Yep.
Yeah, he gets outmaneuvered back, but I think I'm excited to see different versions of Grievous. Now with 20 loadout, it invites variety of different types of builds with him. But yeah, outmaneuver is probably going to be a staple in most cases. How much is outmaneuver, Impervium, and Solus
20
1
points.
combined?
20 points.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then maybe I'm wrong. I'm over here thinking that we could see a lot of variety with him, but it's probably just going to be those 3 upgrades. So,
Yeah, I mean, this is
Boba
this
Fett.
is
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, I was going to say this is big for Grievous, because Grievous is just one of the pieces that you would see in a lot of CIS lists where you could have Grievous and you could have Dirge and you could have, like DGS, where you would have all these obvious traps. So pushing Grievous up and not being the automatic 4-point include is, I mean, that's going to change a lot with Separatists.
Yeah, and we see Boba Fett, Zam Wessel, boo, and Django all getting loadout increases, which I just, how much that actually moves the needle. I think if people wanted to play fire sprays at this point, they would. If I don't know if loadout increases is gonna force people's hand to bring one, just because I've noticed that there's not a lot of like lower ship count CIS lists, like 4 or 5 ship count CIS lists, and that's the only way to really bring a fire spray. So I'd like to see a little bit of more of it.
The chassis is just so good on its own.
Oh, best chassis in the game, I think,
I
Yeah.
agree.
personally. Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard to truly argue against that just because of all the things it can do and its stat line, rear arc, three attack dice or front, or it could do both. Silly. Um, DBS 32C and the Hyena Bomber can be your 3-point Kraken carrier now.
Yeah, because they took it away from the HMPs,
Yeah.
which
So,
is
which
significant.
easier to kill. Yeah, easier to kill. Taking that away from the HMPs just makes it a carrier, something you can approach and actually take out faster, especially with a naked hull, 5 hull there. DBS 32C and the Hyena
He is sneaky good
phrasing.
though. He can do he can coordinate at the start of engagement, which is pretty cheeky with things like bombardment drones or just getting lock shenanigans off for your CIS. So it's interesting.
So interesting. Cad Bane loses the loadout, so he can't take the Sync Laser Procket combo. That was also really strong, and
Yeah,
Dirge goes up to 5. So
yeah. I
no
think
no
Dirge
more
is
4-point Dirge
I
for
think Dirge is
CIS.
dead. Unfortunately, kind of took the hammer on
It's
this one.
tough because you have a ship that doesn't actually die, or like I think he should be priced at 5, but it's also just like it's like a 4.5-point situation, right? Like
Yeah,
it's one of those
100%.
things. Yeah, not treated equally to the scum Dirge. Let's quickly get through this last couple, and then we can decide on our winners and losers here. Also just keeping mind of our time here. I don't want to blow through it, but I also don't have too much time. Um, so Resistance received quite a few adjustments. We get Elo and Temin in the Heroes of Hope pilots, both getting buffs, and Merle Cobban losing access to Prockets. I didn't know Merle Cobban could take. It must be which
Some
Merle
people were
Cobban can
doing
take
it.
Prockets.
Yeah,
Huh. Oh, I think I was doing yeah, I was definitely not taking Merle Cobban with Rockets. I was like heroic and something else. I didn't know Merle had enough to take a Procket though. That's just me not paying attention. And then we have Sefton uh and Zari both getting adjustments. Sefton going up to 4 to get more loadout, and Zari going from 4 to 3 with less loadout, 417 down to 3-5. Then we have our Y wings. Uh, let's see. The Y wings without the config all got loadout boosts on your zoomy Y wings. You can be more effective. While Kaz and Jarek also were buffed, so you could see more fireballs again. They used to be more popular. I feel like they took a big back seat for a while now. Um, and then we see some other small changes. Taka, uh, getting I think is Taka is is the jammy one, the jammy
yep.
couch pilot,
Jammy
right?
couch.
Jammy couch, and Han Solo gets a 3-point loadout uh deduction.
I think
Overall in a
there's
decent place though, according to the XWA.
two huge things here that stand out to me after playing a little bit with these points. That is Snap. Here's a Hope Snap. The wing open one is crazy at 4, and the boosty Y wings sneaky good, like
Yeah.
really
I
really
remember
good.
those days.
And as a big proponent of I've always loved them, I have been abusing them pretty bad right now. So you may see them in an upcoming conquest again.
Don't threaten me with a good time. FO. Again, the evacuation of Dakar standard loadout pilots have actually filled in nicely for the factions. Just taken a while for people to know what to build them with and how to use them, it seems. And the performance is increased. And as a byproduct, we don't see a ton of changes. Hollow is given a loadout increase to 15, while Scorch, which is the evacuation of Dakar TIE FO pilot, has been reduced to 3 points. after receiving public feedback that the card didn't feel up to its 4-point billing. And then, most excitingly, Nightfall and Kylo Ren in the Whisper both received significant buffs. I can only imagine that means loadouts.
Yes.
And
Kylo's actually gone down to 5.
nice, go from 6 to 5 as well. So there you go. For those of you that were, I know at least one person, another Andrew, Mr. Smith, just complaining about the Whispers. Let's see how much complaining he's got to do now. Also, shout out to Andrew Smith for just completely missing the events, the
Yeah,
Gotham
just
City
ghosting
events.
the event.
Just ghosting the events. Shout out. I always love that. Yeah, I mean, good for FO. Honestly, Agent Terex and Mowers and the Zai Shuttle also received buffs because, I mean, let's be honest, the Zai Shuttle will continue to be an awkward choice for FO pilots when it comes to list building. Just, it can work, but it doesn't ever feel amazing having a Zai Shuttle on your list. I think
I love the Zai
it's
Shuttle, but I'm weird. So
yeah. Well, hey, I mean, I've definitely seen it work well, but I think it's really a matchup dependent thing. And I remember when everyone was freaking about Tyranny being introduced into the game, and that didn't really amount to much because people were like, I don't want to bring an expensive Zai Shuttle pilot. I'll take a cheap Zai Shuttle pilot, but an expensive one. Oh no,
yeah,
thank you.
I think Scorch
Um,
Scorch is the one that can throw like 5 dice in bullseye repeatedly.
Yes.
Is a little interesting at 3, a little spicy. So
And Hollow at 4 points and then 10 loadout feels pretty good too.
yeah,
So I think,
Hollow's great. Hollow can do
yeah,
some really cool shenanigans.
yeah, I think we're gonna see some more Hollows like hit the field as well. He'll say
and
final point though, Tyranny just isn't fun to fly against.
No, Tyranny can.
So that
I'm fine if Tyranny doesn't see the table.
yeah,
As a rebel
exactly.
player, personally.
yeah, fair,
Oh my god.
fair.
I brought a Hera list, token sharing list, and yeah, Tyranny just shuts it down. Yeah. You're
That's
like,
so
cool.
hilarious. Like in the worst way, your opponent is just like on top of the world, and you're just miserable.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Hera
that's
can't share tokens with
terrible.
anyone.
Yeah,
Have
that's
fun.
sad.
Yeah.
Um,
Goran
Scum
can't
overall.
do anything, have fun.
Yeah, right. Just not participate the way that you were hoping the whole
Yep.
game. Um, Scum in a good place overall. XWA agrees with our take on how Scum's been looking in terms of popularity, and it seems they've been performing well. You get some significant loadout increases to the IGs. I don't know if this has to be the this is AB. These are the aggressor pilots. I don't even think it's just CIS that has access to the rogue IGs anyways, right? Or
Yeah,
is there Scum IGs in the rogue
no.
for Scum? No. So that's cool because I've already seen a couple people shout out to Bainite, who's really made good use of the IG triple
He,
IG lists.
I played him in Gotham, and it was it was scary. Those IGs are pretty scary, and they now just got buffed. So
Yeah, honestly, arguably second best chassis in the game is the aggressor because it's
yeah,
a medium base with a great dial and 3 agility, 3 shields, and 5 hull. It's like a lot of health. It's like, yeah, it's up there for sure.
9 blue maneuvers. Yeah.
It's just silly, and the shared IG abilities are whack, like so good.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So Cad Bane's lost loadout cannot take the synced lasers and proc is just like his CIS counterpart, and then Unkar getting a slight buff. So we can get more tugboat love, and then the Mandalorian and the Razor Crest. Y'all remember that thing? You guys remember? He also flew the Razor Crest. He sees a point decrease with a loadout decrease, and those are the changes. So I'm gonna ask you each biggest winner. It's easy for me to say winners and losers, but I'm gonna ask you to say. I'm gonna just make it more spicy. Biggest winner, biggest loser of this points update. Andrew Kouba, I'll ask you first.
The biggest winner are Gauntlet flyers because now they get a free drop seat bay if you have the Gauntlet. So
Woohoo!
if you enjoy those
Gauntlet flyers.
Mandalorian tokens, then you are having a great time. In all serious though, like faction wise, I think rebels are one of the biggest beneficiaries of this. I think adding Boudica and Ahsoka into, more lists is going to be opening a lot of archetypes that we have there. Um, and I think that that's pretty good. And then I would say the loser for this one is going to be CIS. I think by raising Grievous up to 5 points and reducing like Cad Bane's loadout, changing the way that Kraken works in HMPs, I think they're coming back down to earth.
Yeah, coming back down to whatever planet they're manufactured on, Geonosis. Coming back down to
Hmm.
Geonosis. Yeah. Oehler, how about you? Biggest winner, biggest loser?
Biggest winner is Republic because I think they get quite a few different archetypes opened up to them. And I think Jedi are fun, so a lot of people will probably be playing Republic. And I also agree with Andrew. I think Separatists are the big loser. I think everything that they have been playing competitively got smashed with a hammer. They're
I think
kind
we
of
can agree the biggest
left
loser
here
kind of has
to
to be CIS. Yeah,
they're
I
off
don't think that's a
here
hot take.
to reinvent everything they are bringing. So
They were winning too hard.
Um, yeah. I want to say the runner up for biggest loser, and it's only like it's like with an asterisk, like it's just like some in terms of the biggest shakeup for what people have gotten too comfortable playing. The combo, the Gorin Swarm Tactics, Scimitar One, Merrick Juno, like quad combo, whatever, that part of it is a big loss.
yeah,
Overall, the
it
changes I
is.
don't think is biggest loser territory at all. But that part, when it comes to like shaking things up and what a lot of Empire players have gotten way too cozy playing, that's a loss for
Yeah, it's a
sure.
huge deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say biggest winner to me, I'm waffling here between um, I think I'm gonna go with man, I think I want to say Empire, but my heart says Rebels. I'm going to say Rebels. I think I mean, you look at the type of list, a similar list to what Andrew Oehler won our Gotham City Conquest with, and giving some of those toys, including like Luke, access to more.
Luke gets
It just
plasmas now
yeah,
if you want them.
Luke gets
It's
plasmas now. He gets enough to make his loadout and his build just a little bit more exciting because he was a little bland when it came to list building with him, just what you put on him. He didn't have a lot of choices with a little bit of loadout. Jake having 12 loadout now, it's like Procket plus a few other things, a couple other things. Boudica down, making her cheaper. Yeah, I think overall, and then of course Ahsoka getting and Dash getting some love, being reduced in overall cost. I think Rebels could sneak out there and perform really well or overperform. And um, biggest loser we agree is CIS. And yeah, I think they did a really good job with this.
Yes.
I know a lot of
100%.
things that I know things that are happening that I could just blow the cover off this thing, but I'm not going to do it. There's some exciting things to look forward to. If you guys saw the XWA timeline, there's some structural and additional content updates coming in the next couple of months. Yeah, there's some things to be keen to look out for. But I think they did a really good job with this update and kind of and again slightly stabilizing and inserting a few wrinkles and additions and just think considerations for players with all of their beloved factions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's super exciting. I've already been building tons of different lists with different factions, and yeah, I mean, overall, I'm really happy with how these changes have been
Yeah,
made.
me too. I really like this update.
Yeah, overall pretty solid. Any final words, guys, before I sign us off?
I was gonna say, for all of you Echo players out there, look alive! It's our time.
Let's go Echo. Mr. Champion, anything?
No, just thanks for running these events, and I'm excited for the finals the rest of them, and the finals in December, I think it is.
Yeah, in December. All the dates have been chosen now in our document, our schedule document. You guys can take a look at all of that. Be sure to sign up and play in as many of the conquests as you can. The Pierogi conquest, which is will be local to the Warsaw, Poland time zone. That's going to start real early in the morning for us here in Central Time in the U.S. But
I'm
that's the
gonna
next one on July 26th. We'll probably be sleeping,
I'm gonna
I assume.
try I'm gonna
Oh, are
try
you?
fly
Okay.
something goofy. I'm gonna try to play in as many as I can, help you guys out.
That's
But
awesome. It's appreciated. Please play. Keep playing X-Wing, guys, but join us
Progi
for the Conquest series.
Progi is the one that I'm on the fence about because it starts at a ridiculous hour. But
Yeah, it does. It really does. Yeah, it'll be something.
The funny thing with that is I'll be in Greece, so like the time zone is actually not bad for me. The problem is
But
I'm
you
gonna
won't
be
be
at a
able to
wedding.
play.
I won't be able to
Yeah,
play. Yeah.
yeah. I think you could find a way to sneak TTS in during the wedding. Easy.
Oh
Yeah,
gosh.
easy
Yeah.
enough. Yeah, if bonus points if you somehow don't get caught. Big bonus points. You would get caught easily because that would be very hard to do. But that sounds like a great destination wedding going to Greece. Woo,
I'm very
nice.
excited. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I just booked my flight to Heathrow for February to go to the Sit-Taker Open, but to do a vacation in London and in just like a rural part of the UK before. So I'm excited about that. That's going to be my first big trip in like forever.
Well,
Actually, I
nice.
think since I graduated, I haven't done a big trip like that for myself ever. So it'll be a lot of fun.
I don't know, Andrew. Do
Yeah.
you have any travel plans on the horizon?
not really. I just moved across the country of Canada, and I'm kind of settling in here and stuff. So
I still thought
haven't
you were in
done.
like Central Time.
Nope. I
Canada.
was, to be fair, and
Yeah.
then I moved to the coast, so I'm now
Yep.
Pacific.
He's now Pacific. He's
Oh,
a
wow.
PST boy.
I was gonna say yeah. So yeah, I would also be done traveling after a move that big.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. Jeez. All right. Well, thank you to everyone for listening to this episode and continuing to support us here at 312 Squadron. I know we haven't been streaming as much this summer, but we have two awesome IRL events, including the Lone Star Open that we will be streaming. We got our team league coming up and more exciting content on the horizon. So don't worry, we're not going anywhere. Just enjoying the summer while we're also streaming and doing X-Wing stuff. If you aren't already following us on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook, you should. Links in the description. And finally, 312 is excited to be producing exclusive cards and swag featuring new XWA pilots for our Patreon patron members. So consider supporting us there on Patreon, and you will get rewarded with some awesome stuff in the mail every quarter, including other perks and benefits like playing in up to 3 conquests for free. Well, that's going to do it. Thank you all for listening. We really appreciate your support. Continue to play X-Wing. We'll see you in the Conquest series, see you online, see you wherever. My name is Nick Sperry.
I'm Andrew Kouba.
And I'm Andrew Oehler.
And we are signing off.
Good night.